Hey, that's
Well, it's like I haven't see it many times, just a few times.
hey, that's it. Yes, I had that curiosity because I have never been in other place in this time in this season, so I didn't know if it was celebrated as it is in here. But I think that it's something general.
Yes, in general, I
Excellent.
think the same.
All right. Thank you very much. That was my curiosity. All
Thank
right.
you, teacher.
I'm sorry. Now, please, let's talk about English for specific purposes. And this is English for literature. And let's see some exponents of vocabulary about poetry and about literature. Here we have some new words, I guess. For example, for me, the very new one is this one. I didn't know what stanza meant. Do you know
Mm,
what is it?
No, I cannot find it. Poetry. Yes, it is
Well,
like composition, like lyrical composition with beautiful words, like or explain beautiful feelings or something. That's
yes, that's it. Well, a stanza is kind of like a paragraph, but it is in poetry. A stanza is composed by more or less four verses. And so into Spanish, we call it estrofa.
oh, I cannot find it. Um,
Here it is. Here. Can you see it? Let me use another tool, this one. And another color, this one. Okay, here it is. Oh no, the color is not very visible. Let me check another one. Yellow. Can you see it?
don't worry. Could you repeat the word, please?
Stanza.
With S? Yeah, I see it. Resolution stands. All right.
Yeah,
I
here it
haven't
is.
noted.
Yeah, stanza. Okay, well, as far as we can see, stanza is a new word. But what about any other? For example, irony. Here we have the word
Irony.
irony.
Yes, irony. Yes, it's like for the clothes, like to get the clothes stay flat, or I don't know how to say.
Aha, well, that's to iron. But irony is a poetical form that talks in an ironic way. For example, when you say to your children, "Oh, what a beautiful," yes, that was great. When they did something that was not good.
Yes, it's like an irony.
Aha,
I got it.
ironic.
Yes, I know it, and I don't know how or why I confuse me.
Yeah. All right. So, what about fable? Here we are, the word fable. Do you know it?
Fable now,
A
like a
fable.
fabula.
Aha, that's it. And tell me, do you know any famous fable?
Yes, like the one of the turtle and the bunny.
Ah, that's it. That's nice. Could you talk to me about it?
Yes, well, that is a good fable that my mother used to uh, share with me when I was going to bed before sleep. Uh, she used to tell me about any other more fables, like the one of the sheep and the black wolf.
Ah,
Another ones, yeah.
yes, but you know what? I think that there's a slight difference between a tale, a bedtime story,
All
like
right.
the seven little goats and the wild wolf, and a fable. Well, the difference is that the fable is always a story which has just animals as the characters, and they have
Oh,
a moral. They have a teaching that it's called moral.
um, for example,
Eh,
uh,
like the bunny and the turtle is a very famous fable.
oh, right. I got it. Thank
Yeah,
you,
so
teacher.
the bunny and the turtle. There is another. Have you heard about the lion and and the mouse?
No, I haven't.
No, that's a very nice story. Yeah. Do you want me to talk to you about it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Well, all most of the fables were written by the Greek philosopher Aesop. And this fable of the mouse and the lion is also composed or written by Aesop. And well,
Yes.
the story is about a little mouse that was living in the jungle.
Okay.
Eh, Once, a lion who was walking nearby saw the little mouse and trapped him with his paws. So the lion was
Okay.
going to eat the little mouse, but suddenly the little mouse said, "Please, Sir Lion, don't eat me, please. If you don't eat me, I will do something very good for you. I could save your life one day." And so the lion was so surprised because of that offer that the little mouse said. So the lion said, "Ugh, okay, I won't eat you, but not because you could save my life, but because it was very funny what you said. So I forgive your life. I won't eat you." And so the little mouse was so thankful about that fact. And he said, thank you very much, Sir Lion. I won't ever forget this that you did for me. You know that sometime I'm going to do an enormous favor for you." And the lion was so amused and so funny with that. So he was laughing out loud. But it came the day when there were some hunters over the jungle, and they trapped the lion in enormous nets. The lion was fighting, was struggling for being free again, but he couldn't do it because of the enormous nets that were on him. So everything seemed that the lion was going to be out of the jungle, maybe turned into a mat or into a carpet. And suddenly the night came in. And so the hunters went to sleep. And when the hunters were sleeping, Mouse went to Lion's ear and he said, "Don't worry, Sir Lion. I am here. I'm going to save your life as you did with me. Don't forget that I owe you my life." And so the lion said, "Don't bother me. I am in trouble. Leave me alone." And so the little mouse said, "No, no, no. I'm here for saving your life." And so the lion said, "Hey, what could a little tiny mouse as you are could do for me? You are not able to do anything. You can't do anything. And so the little mouse began biting the nets. And he bit and bit, and very soon he had made such an enormous hole in the nets that the lion could easily go out and escape. So the moral is this: never think that somebody is so small that he or she couldn't do anything important.
Yes. Wow, it's a beautiful tale.
Yeah, it's a nice fable.
Fable.
Like the one that you said of the mouse and the bunny was also a very interesting story, a very nice tale.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
Eh,
well,
so, Cesar, what about the words? Do you want to know about anything? For example, this one, POV.
POV. Well, yes, it's like what I don't know what is that word. What that
It's
means.
it means point of view.
Oh, it's true. Point of view.
Point of view, that's it.
Very obvious.
No, that's nice. It's interesting. All right. Let's see about some other another image. Let me check it. Okay. So here we are. Here we are, the meaning of some of the words that we saw before. Okay, so let me erase this. Okay, it is. So now what about this one? Gosh, give me a moment. I don't know where the eraser is. Okay. Okay, here it is. So look at this. Here we have a free verse. Free verse means verso libre. So it's another way of composing.
All
Uh,
right.
so what about flashback?
Flashback, mood. It's like a retrospective scene.
Aha, that's it. For example, you know what? I remember that I read a very beautiful, a very nice book. I really love it. And it's by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. And the name of the story is Crónica de una muerte anunciada. Have you
All
read
right.
that book?
No, I haven't.
Well, it talks about uh, a murdering. A man was killed, but uh, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, the author, is making the narration not from the moment when the person was born. He started with the moment when the person was dead.
All right. Like from the end to the beginning.
That's it in a flashback. So he starts from the end and he goes in flashback as the moment when everything was prepared. He gives you the motifs and all the reason because of that murdering at the end of the book. That's a flashback.
Oh, wow. Yes, my girlfriend told me about that
Oh, it's a
book.
nice book. I really recommend it.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay, so look at this. Here they talk about mood.
Mood. Like,
And
how do you feel in that precise moment?
excellent. That's it. It could be about what's the mood of the characters or how our mood can change when we are reading. Eh,
Yes,
it's nice, it's magic. What do you think
yes,
about reading?
yes. It's magic because it transports you to another better situation, like a healing, like it heals you, or how can I say it? Helps you? No,
It heals you.
heals. Well, because it helps you to understand many things and also to like absorb those things and liberate also those things that you need
Yes.
in that precise moment.
Yes, that's it. So please, Cesar, tell me, have you read any book that has changed your mood?
Yes, many books like How to Win Friends, uh,
Ah,
How to Win Friends. It is from Golem. No, Golem. No, I forgot the name, teacher. Just one moment, please.
no, it's okay. Don't worry. It's by.
How to influence people and win friends, and it is about, well, it helped me to improve um, my my growth in my job, like
Aha.
being better in the operation.
Hey, that's beautiful. That's pretty good. You know what? I think that there are many different books that we can read that can make our mood change. As you said, for example, I remember that I read a book called Los Pies Descalzos by Luis Enrique Erro, and it is a historic novel. And when I finished reading that book every day, well, when I stopped my reading, I
Okay.
was very thoughtful because it made me think a lot about the situations that I was reading in the novel. I was so impacted that I didn't want to talk about certain things because I was angry because of the unfair situation of the character. So I know that it
All right.
was it was fiction,
Yes.
but I remember that when I read that book, I was thinking about the true life stories similar to the one I was reading, and I felt angry because I thought that sometimes life is not fair.
All right. Yes, because it's about a story of something sad, maybe.
Yes, that's it. It was about a woman who was pregnant, and his father didn't want to see her anymore. And the father of her baby disappeared magically. But
Mm?
she was a woman who was living in a very small town. It was the year 1814. So it was in time of the Mexican independence.
Oh,
So the ideas, the ideology, the way people reacted was very different. And she was alone with her pregnancy, and she had to come to Mexico City, but she was sleeping on the street. She was suffering from hunger, and I thought
on
that
what? Excuse me, teacher. That were could you repeat it,
hunger,
please?
yeah, hunger. It means that she didn't have anything for eating. She had no food. That's what she had. She was in hunger.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so my mood changed so much when I used to read that book. I felt so critical about it. Okay, so here we have another word, the word couplet.
Couplet.
Couplet, yes, it is part of a poem,
Oh,
and it can also be used for music. A couplet is a little stanza that it's sung in a song. For example, in Mexico, we have the Huapango music. Have you
Yes.
heard some Huapango? And the couplets are the parts of the song that the singers sing.
All right.
Some of them, well, of course, they rhyme. Of course, they have a metric, and they have to talk about any specific subject or any specific topic. They are very nice. Have you heard any song which couplets are very interesting or amusing?
Maybe the flamenco music
That's it.
could be
Yes,
because it has some kind of shouts with I don't know how to say like couplets. I think.
uh-huh. Yes, like couplets. Okay, pretty good. All right, so let's go to the next word. Here we have the word plot. The, the plot is what we call argumento. But in English, argument is not an argumento. It's a fight between two people or more. So,
All
for
right.
example, if we are discussing, but we are a little angry about something, we have an argument. It's a verbal fight.
Okay.
So the story of something is a plot.
A plot. Okay. If it is of a history. The mainly stage of the movie or something like that.
Yes, that's it. It's the sequence of events in a story.
All right.
Do you know any plot of a story that it's interesting for you?
Mm, yes. Let me think about one. Like I know about a saga of Owl Jean, a French writer, and she wrote a saga of 5 books that talk about the Ice Age and a woman that survived from an earthquake and all her family died. And the plot is about that the life at the uh, Ice Age, like
Wow.
20,000 years ago.
Hey, it sounds so interesting. That should be a nice plot.
Yes, it is.
Excellent. All right, thank you very much. And what's your point of view about the life of that woman?
Well, I think that she was very strong in many ways because she survived to an attack of a lion, a giant lion, and then she started to live with another kind of humans, like they were like an inferior kind of our species. How do I say
Species.
species?
Species.
Yes, like in a minor category.
Yeah. All right.
Like the Neanderthals, and then the other ones. Well, and she learned to speak with the hands and with the corporal language because the
Wow.
other people couldn't use the sound as us and couldn't emit any sound. So they were used to communicate with the signals and the body.
Body language. Wow. Hey, that's so interesting. I
Yes,
think
and
Yes, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
I think the girl was very intelligent and smart
Yes, I
and
think
strong.
so. So the plot of that story was not only interesting but also inspiring.
Yes, it is. I recommend you that books, teacher.
Wow, thank you very much. Yes, that will be so interesting. Excellent. All right, so look at this. Here we have also the word alliteration.
Alliteration.
Alliteration. You know what? I don't have very clear what is an alliteration. I think that alliteration is the fact to have any literature growing. But let me check. Let me check what is it, and I will tell you. There is also a iambic pentameter. A iambic pentameter is a measurement. It's a stanza, but it is composed by 5 rows, 5 verses. So that's the iambic pentameter. Somebody in Mexico that used very much this kind um, of measurement was Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz.
All right.
Aha, yes, that's it. So, do you know anything about Sor Juana Inés?
That she wrote many poems.
Aha, she wrote.
She wrote. Yes, she wrote. Excuse me.
Yeah, she wrote many. Well, she wrote poems. And what else?
Uh, like autobiographies.
Yeah, that's it. What else?
I don't know very too much about her. Sorry, hadn't heard too much about her or paid attention. I think.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, she composed also many theater plays. Okay. Now I know what is alliteration. Alliteration is a repeated sound. For example, if I say into English something like this, maybe the baby uh, go to the Navy. Okay, so here we are repeating the maybe, the baby, go to the
Like the same
Navy.
termination in sound.
Aha, AV, that's the sound, the repeated
Maybe.
sound. And so this is an alliteration.
Oh, all right, alliteration. Like
Aha,
some, like the calaveritas.
aha, that's it. But you know what? It is kind of like an error. When, for example, when you are speaking, you should avoid using this. Uh, it is much better for a speech when you look for synonyms instead of using this alliteration. So, for example, maybe the baby got to the Navy. Instead of saying this, you could say perhaps the boy go to the Navy, or perhaps the child. Perhaps
Um,
instead of maybe, the child instead of baby, and then you use navy, and you are not repeating sounds.
or it is possible that the baby got to the navy.
Yes, that's it. It is the same meaning, but with different words. When you are speaking, it is not good to use the alliteration. But if you are talking about poetry, if you are doing some literature, it's okay. It's a
Okay.
it's a nice use of the language.
Oh, thank you, teacher.
Yeah, so that's it. You know what? It's something like when you are writing a text and you are using a word in repeated times. It is not good, so you should change it. Eh,
Yes, it
so,
look bad also at the emails, for example.
so that you don't do an alliteration.
Thank you, teacher.
No, my pleasure. You know what? Here we have another. Here we have the foreshadow.
Foreshadow. Foreshadow.
Like, for example, whenever you see, um, what's the name of this vulture? When you see a vulture on this in the sky, it may foreshadow death, or it may foreshadow bad luck. No,
But
yes, that's it. And so, well, many literature composings use this word to foreshadow.
foreshadow. Well, maybe here in Michoacan, too many people that use it to believe that their parents come visit them as a monarch butterfly, and that foreshadow good things, a good something good to happen because their parents had visited them, converted into a butterfly, and in this season,
Wow, hey, that's beautiful. So nice.
so
Oh,
there are many legends, right? I think, I guess, I don't know, but
yeah,
it's like a part of their culture here,
yes.
Purepecha's culture.
Hey, that's beautiful and that's so interesting. You
Thank you,
know what?
teacher.
I think that Mexico is a great country and it has not only infrastructure, but also science, but also culture. And so I think that something of the what people like more, what people like the most, I mean, in the world is this Mexican culture that we have many different stories, many different beliefs. So that's wonderful.
In other countries,
Yes, but it's a pity, Cesar, it's a pity that we don't appreciate as much as we have.
yes,
Eh,
it is because we had too many sites and culture and some archaeological centers and uh, many cultures, good cultures in the astronomical things, for example.
yes, that's it. So we have a very wealthy culture. So I think that we should teach children to appreciate everything that we have.
I have a good one in this concept, the foreshadow concept. The Maya culture, do you know something about the synchronario Maya?
No, I haven't heard about it. Could you talk to me about it?
Yes, something quickly. Well, it is a calendar that has, it talks about 13 months and each one has 20 days. So if you multiply these two amounts, it is 260, right?
Yeah.
Well, uh, each day, that was different days, we have 30 months per year for them, for the Maya culture. And each day has an specific energy that predominates because the astronomical studies say that energy is, for example, today it is the caminante del cielo, like a prophet, a perfect day because you could plan things for other time, and there are different energies, and it. I think that it's like foreshadow because they used to think that that energy could determine the day of each one, each day. I don't know if I explain myself.
Yes, I could understand pretty well. Thank you very much. That is so interesting. And I think that, as you said, we are very rich in culture. We should learn more about it. It's wonderful.
Yes, thank you, teacher.
No, thanks to you. All right, let's go to the next image. Here we go. Let me move this image. Okay. All right, look at this. We are going to analyze a poem. This poem is by Robert Frost, and the
Okay.
name of the poem is The Road Not Taken. Please, could you help me reading the first part?
The first stanza.
Yes.
uh, Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the underworld. Road.
Excellent. Now my
Thank
turn.
Yes,
Then,
thank you.
yeah, then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy, and wanted wear. Though, as for that the passing there, had worn them really about the same. Okay, now your turn.
And both that morning equally lay, in lips no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back.
Wow, it sounded really beautiful. Okay, my turn. I shall be telling this with a sight, somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
Wow,
Hey,
beautiful. Thank you, teacher.
that was so beautiful. You know what? I love this poem. I think this is the most famous of by Robert Frost.
Oh,
I remember most of all the last part. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. I like that phrase very much.
mm.
What do you think about this poem?
I think that it helps us to think about our decisions, about the patience, about the faith, because we always, every time, we have the choice of trying to like what can I say, to work with calm in our growth.
Yes, yes, that's it. I think that it is so deep because, as you said, it talks about life, and we make the decision of going by any road or another. And so, well, for me, I insist in the last phrase that said, "I took the less travel by," because sometimes we choose the same way of living that many people do. But whenever you select the different one, some people used to say that you are crazy, that it doesn't work, that you will have
Yeah.
problems, but then it is when you find the difference, when you do what the others don't do because it is more difficult. Well, that's my perception. What do you think
Thank you.
about that?
Well, thank you, teacher. I think also that uh, every people have expectations about the others. We have to have our own expectations about uh, oneself uh, before the others, because we have to work in oneself to help the other people or to achieve what we want to. We everybody are different.
Yes, that's it. You know what? I remember that time ago when my children were younger, they decided to do something to study a career, and then my siblings said, "What are you going to study?" And my son answered, "I want to study sociology." But then my brother said to my son, "No, no, no, but something that helps you to survive." And I was terrified. I said, "How can you say that? It is not possible that you have that kind of opinion because, of course,
No.
maybe the market, the job market is not as good as engineering, but of course it's a great career, and if he wants to do it, of course it's gonna be good." And so I thought about this phrase of the two rows that birch in a wood. We can have many different opinions, but the difference is how we walk by that road, how we do things.
Yes, and we also everybody each one knows which kind of road is better for you,
Ah,
because
that's it.
maybe for me it's easier walk through the concrete instead of the wood, the grass. Maybe well, it's like a metaphoric way to say it.
Yeah, yeah, I understood it. And I really agree with you. Well, Cesar, you know what? I think that this is so deep. We could be talking for a long time about it. But
Yeah,
unfortunately,
it's
time
true.
is over. I want to congratulate you because you are one of those who make a difference. Look,
Thank
this
you.
is this is a festive day and you are taking classes.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so congratulations to you.
Thank you, teacher. I'm trying to.
Now you do it really well. Well, Cesar, thank you very much for your attendance, for your attention, and of course, not only because of your participation, but because you apport a lot to our country with your preparedness. I consider that people who prepared for doing it well are the ones who are going to construct our country. So thank you very much.
Thank you, teacher, for your beautiful words. And I hope you have an excellent end of year and beginning the next one.
Likewise, congratulations to you and to your family, and see you next course.
Yes, hope to see you next course. Well, thank you very much for all your lessons, teacher.
Now, thanks
Truly
to you.
thankful with you.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, have a very good night.
Thank you, teacher.
Thanks to you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.